You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
This is Storm Thomas.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Rotunda, also known as IRS, Erwin Shyster, formerly with WWF.
I am the unsolved mystery JT Energy.
This is Lars Metzger.
This is Almighty Christopher Daniel.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your golden boy, Bryce Jordan.
This is the world's greatest pop icon, Donnie Pepper Cricket, sometimes known as the Dundee Strangler, Brandon Juarez.
Hey everybody, this is Rip Studwell.
Hello everybody, it's Ethan Everhart.
What is up, wrestling world? This is the resident rock star of Impact Pro Wrestling, Adam Love. Woo!
It's the Cornbelt Cowboy, the one called Manders, and you're listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takis. It's been a while since we've done a show. I've been battling, we've had all kinds of sickness running through the household, and I've not felt up to it, so I'm finally over it, and it's finally getting out of the house, and we're back. We're back, and we're ready to rock and roll, and I'm excited for tonight's guest. Somebody who just had their very first pro wrestling debut in front of a live audience and is going to continue to make some waves here in the Iowa independent wrestling scene. Recent graduate of the Forge Wrestling Academy, and I am talking about the one and the only LeonKing. Leon, welcome to the show. I met you a few months back when you were still doing your training, and man, you know, when I got done and we were doing commentary together, I was like, I even said this, Fouts backed me up on this. I said this, I'm like, I have a lot of high hopes for that kid. I hadn't even seen you in the ring yet, but just from us doing the commentary together, man, I had such a blast doing that. It was so much fun, and hopefully we get to run that back a little bit here this weekend for Eminent Wrestling Alliance.
You know, I loved commentating with you. I felt like it was so much fun to sit back and just, you know, call some action, but now you get to call the action for me in the ring. So I think that's going to be like a what is it called? My mind's drawing a blank. It'll come back to me, but you know, I'm very, very excited to be here. This is my first ever interview podcast, so I'm just ready to talk about this card and talk about me and Wes Wakefield's match, because he got some him.
Absolutely. You know, before we kind of get into that, I kind of want to get more into your background of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And I know you just had your debut, but what was it for you about professional wrestling that made you want to get into it, and what made you decide, you know, the Forge is the place for me to train at, because it is a great training academy that has been producing a lot of really great talent here in the Midwest. So what was it about all that led you to the Forge?
So ever since I was really young, I mean, wrestling has been a thing in my life. You know, I've always loved it. I've watched it. It's kind of like a way for me and my grandpa to have a bonding moment, you know. So fine, and this is his shirt, by the way. So he gave this to me when I was very, very young, and now I finally get to wear it and show it off. And but he entered me into the wrestling world, and I fell in love. And I love the entertainment aspect of everything. Entertainment is my thing. I wasn't the sports player. I wasn't the athletic one. I was the theater kid. I love to entertain people. So bringing theatrics into a combat sport, it's like a dream come true. You know what I'm saying? So I started training back last year, March 5th, right? I flew down to North Carolina. I started training with a school called Firestar Pro Wrestling, and I was being trained by LeBron Cozone. And he found the diamond in the rough, if that makes sense. He found it, and he exposed it to the wrestling world. And I think for me coming home from North Carolina and going to the Forge, they polished that diamond, and now the diamond's going to be shown off in front of everybody. it was really hard for me to leave North Carolina because I loved it so much down there. But times are tough, and having to pay all the bills by yourself and having to sit back and watch life happen before your eyes is something insane. And doing it by yourself in a whole new state, 16 hours away, it was a scary journey, but I made it. And I came to the Forge.
And again, how did you hear about the Forge? Because again, way out here in little old Iowa, we have this pretty awesome, training academy. Like I said, it's just producing massive amounts of talent, and especially with the Iowa wrestling scene. Because again, if you head over to the Shotgun Wrestling Radio page, you'll see how many different promotions are running shows this month alone. So the Iowa wrestling scene is booming right now. So what was it that led you back here?
So this is my home. I'm from Iowa. This is my place. This is my home. These are my peoples, So when I went out to North Carolina and all of a sudden I'm seeing this stuff about the Forge, I'm like, where was this when I was in Iowa? So I went out there and I've seen about the Forge, and I was like, you know what? It's so hard out here to pay all the bills and to live by yourself. I'm going to go back to Iowa. I'm going to go to this Forge, and we're going to see what's cracking like a bad back, We're going to see what's cracking. And yeah, probably the best decision I've ever made.
Now, for you, when you stepped into your first day of training, what was that like for you? Was it easier than you thought it was? Was it difficult? Like, what was it like finally stepping into that ring for the first time?
It's a feeling that I've never felt before. But it was a feeling of, this is it. This is not a pipe dream. This is not a dream anymore. This is your reality. Taking that first bump and having the wind knocked out of me, it showed me like, yeah, this is gonna be it, man. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be it.
The other interesting thing that I thought of too when we were talking, we were doing commentary, is when you guys started your class, obviously you always have a fair amount of people in, and then by the time you guys dwindled down, there was pretty much just 4 you guys left in the training class.
Yes. So my 4 boys, which one of them is Wes Wakefield, you big idiot. There was only 4 of us left. We call ourselves the Forged. We're the new 4 horsemen, but of the Forge Academy. We really strive to uplift each other until it's time to wrestle each other. We know that we have the love, we have the respect there, but when it comes down to it and we step in that ring together, we give it our all. We show these people what Iowa wrestling is made for. And as you were talking about earlier, there's so many different promotions in Iowa that are running shows. I think we're trying to bring Iowa wrestling back up to prestige again. I think it got clowned on a lot in the past, and that's not going to happen in my books. You're not going to clown me. You know what I'm saying? We're going to bring prestige back. And we already have.
And again, we're in Iowa. We're blessed. Like, I didn't even have this when I first started getting into independent wrestling back in 2005. There was about, I think, 2 promotions that were running consistently in 2005 when I got introduced to independent pro wrestling. So for me, being involved in it in any way, shape, or form right now is super cool, and I'm super grateful to be a part of it. And again, this coming Saturday, Swisher, Iowa is the place to be for Eminent Wrestling Alliance. And we're gonna go ahead and get right into it here, man. We're gonna start running down some of the matches. We're gonna get back to your time in wrestling too, but let's go ahead and start running down some of these matches. We got tag team matchup with 2 teams that are no strangers to each other by any means. We're talking about Supernova versus the Kaboberators coming up here this Saturday night in Swisher, Iowa at the Swisher Legion Hall.
Let me tell you something about those Super Loser. I have been to many shows with them, and just out in the ring, they're the same in the back. Cocky, arrogant, just ugh. But the Carburetors, I do love their energy. I actually got to mix it up with JD a little bit in the Rumble that happened at Rugged Pro in Fall City. And dude can hit. He got me a few good times. I was like, whoa, okay. All right. So I know it's going to be a fun little match. They've always go out there. They always kill it. So I know what they're going to absolutely kill it this Saturday.
Yeah, and this is kind of a rematch from the time that they were there last time in Swisher.
Yeah.
If you remember last time we were in Swisher, the Collaborators actually won the tag team titles
They sure did.
from them. So yeah, it's again a rematch from the last show that the crowd really seemed into. So I'm curious to see how the crowd reaction will be this time around. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. If you want tickets, head over to Eminent Wrestling Alliance Facebook page. There is a link, or you can get tickets at the door. Doors open at 6 p.m. Bell time is 6:30, so it's a little bit early show tonight, which I'm personally a huge fan of. So if you're out and about looking for something to do on Saturday night, head on over to the Swisher Legion Hall and come see us at Eminent Wrestling Alliance, because we also have some great singles matchups to talk about too. We have Theron Edwards, another graduate of the of the Forge Wrestling Academy, going up against Adam Love, making his return to Eminent Wrestling Alliance.
Let me tell you, Theron Edwards, I actually interviewed him one time, and
I saw that interview, by the way.
He surprised me. He surprised me, to say the least. But Adam Love truly is such a great human being. I love that man so much, and I cannot wait to step in the ring with that man. He's so fantastic. But these two styles are going to crash, and I mean, when I say crash, hard-hitting affair that we're about to see. Seriously, hard-hitting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm excited to see Adam Love back in action. It's been a while since I've seen him in the ring. And Theron Edwards, again, they don't call him Wildfire for no reason, so it'll be great to see what these two can do as well. Another one we have to talk about, and again, I do want to stress as I'm talking about these, because last time I did one of these preview shows, I kid you not, I think 2 days later, maybe even a day later, we had like 2 or 3 matches that we talked about got changed. So I'm going to stress, card as always subject to change.
Oh, for
sure. But as of now, this is the card that we will have. Another one that I'm really excited for, QC Wayne versus Gavin Parker. I know you were there Saturday night for Rugged Pro. My God, if you haven't seen it, head over to Rugged Pro Wrestling's Facebook page, because Gavin Parker did probably the most insane dive of the year.
Gavin Parker is going to make it so big in this world. So is QC Wayne. Those two together, now, QC, he has this arrogant attitude, and he is also a part of the Forged. He has this arrogant attitude about him, but it makes sense because he goes out there and he does what he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? Last time they did this, he won. Let's not forget this. QC Wayne won his debut match against Gavin Parker. I just cannot wait to see what they do here Saturday in Swisher, Iowa. It's definitely a fight night for sure.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that's really fun about Eminent Wrestling Alliance. If you guys have ever been interested in training for wrestling and you want to maybe get into a wrestling school, you're looking at maybe possibly going to the Forge, come on out to the Eminent Wrestling Alliance show, because a lot of these kids are graduates from the Forge Academy, so you'll be able to get a taste of what everybody has been through. And again, let's kind of get back into your training days, with the Forge Wrestling Academy, of course, being up by Jay Fowler. What was that like, for you working with a guy of that caliber who's just had big match after big match? He just wrestled Chavo Guerrero this past weekend, and the dude just continues to be in these big time matchups.
He's amazing, man. I absolutely love Jay Fowler. And I cannot wait to see what's next for him. I want to get him introduced to some people in North Carolina, because I want him to progress out of the Midwest. Not saying he needs to go forever, but he needs to get his name out there. And I think if he goes to North Carolina and he starts getting up with these big shows like Deadlock Pro and Firestar and some places out there, it's going to be... He's going to blossom into a huge deal one day. I can see him getting signed very, very soon. I can seriously see it.
Yeah, I mean, again, they don't call him, Mr. Multi-Belt for no reason. And again, for you guys to be able to train with a guy of that caliber is just a huge blessing here in the Midwest. And yeah, again, just extremely lucky because again, let's look at more of this card that we have coming up. Again, a lot of these cats trained by this guy too. The EWA championship we have on the line, Reginald Paul Gray defending his title again. Reginald Paul Gray, another Forge Wrestling Academy graduate, and he's got a great big match coming up too here on March 17th or March 16th, excuse me, against Hornswoggle even. So that again, just more opportunity that you can get from the Forge Wrestling Academy. And this weekend, Reginald Paul Gray is defending his EWA title against another graduate from your guys' class there in Marley.
March 17th, I get to wrestle that man, and I cannot wait. And this Saturday, if Marley wins that title, he will then have to face me. And I don't think he wants that, because as quick as you got that title is as fast as you're going to lose that title. Now, with all great love and respect, because Marley is probably one of the ones that I grew the closest to when we were training together. I'm going to take him down. But this Saturday, he needs to go get that title, because Reggie, him and his scandalous ways of winning his matches just isn't sitting right with me. It's not sitting right. And as a world champion, for you to bring out your goons like that, it's kind of Roman Reigns-ish, if that makes any sense. Kind of, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I've seen enough Reginald Paul Gray matches to know, that yeah, that's definitely what he's about. Let's bring it back here to a little bit more about you. What for you, inspired you to get into wrestling? I know you said again you love watching it with your grandpa, but who, I guess, wrestler wise, and even what inspired you to get into this? I know you said the theaters, but like, what were some of your favorite wrestlers that really stood out to you that made you really want to go, ooh, I want to do this?
The first match I ever watched is what really tied me down. And that was The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26. That match right there tied me down into a whole whirlwind. Like it swept me up. Shawn Michaels and his over-the-top character, Undertaker and his devious strikes. And some of you will see that when I do wrestle, you'll see some of the strikes that Undertaker do, and you'll see some of the flamboyancy of Shawn Michaels. You'll see another one of my favorite wrestlers right now, Adam Cole. That man just changed so much for me, especially when he was in NXT in the Black and Gold days. Those three men really got me. They got me hooked.
Yeah, that you mentioned that match, Shawn versus Taker, and it's one of the greatest matches of all time. It's one of those matches that you can just go watch anytime, get immediately sucked into, and you can really go back. And the thing that I always appreciated about it, because it was career versus streak. Shawn put his career on the line, and for the longest time, Shawn was one of the few guys that really held to that retirement stipulation until the ungodly, abysmal Saudi event, which Taker has exactly right. When Taker's even said we had to beg Shawn to come out of retirement for that. So I mean, realistically, you can forget that match and say Shawn's legit, basically the only guy to ever actually live up to a retirement stipulation, which makes that match even more special.
Yeah. And I think that is something that was so special to me too, is, me just getting introduced and watching The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, that being Shawn Michaels' last match. It was heartbreaking, but I guess that's why they had the WWE Network for a long time. They got to catch up on everything.
Well, and I've always said, for me, Shawn is on my Mount Rushmore. I will have no doubt putting Shawn on my Mount Rushmore. My Mount Rushmore, I'd probably put Brett, Shawn. I'd even go Bryan Danielson, because I think he's one of the best technically sound wrestlers in the world. And up until recently, I probably could have argued Rock, but I just want Rock to go away for now. So for now, I'll put Stone Cold over Rock. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's for me is my Mount Rushmore. And as we're talking about that, give me your Mount Rushmore. That's what I love about it. Everybody's is different. So, what's your Mount Rushmore pro wrestling?
My Mount Rushmore pro wrestling. Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. Man, this is hard. This is a good one. This is a tricky one. Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, he is going to be someone who, oh man, he's just a game changer. And honestly, Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné is probably the biggest inspiration to me now. And in this era that I'm in, Mercedes Moné is stamped all over me. And you'll definitely be able to see it with my style in the ring for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how AEW uses her when she comes here in a couple weeks. And it seems like for me on the outside, I kind of veered away from AEW for a little bit because they've lost me a little bit. And it seems like on the outside looking in, I still keep up with it. I still see what's going on. I don't watch every week, but it seems like they're finally starting to add more women's matches to the show. I'm like, if you're spending all that money on Mercedes, you need to have more than one women's segment a week on that damn show. There's no freaking reason to have that women's roster that they have, and you have 2 damn women's matches in a 2-hour show, or 1 women's match in a 2-hour show. I'm sorry, you're spending all that money on Mercedes. You need to be ramping up that division right now as far as your storytelling and everything.
I think Mercedes is about to go in there, and she's about to show everybody that she does mean big business. She is the boss. She is the CEO for a reason. There's nobody in the wrestling game right now doing it like her, and she hasn't even been in the ring. But she's the conversation. She's the topic, and she's been saying this. You know what I'm saying? And she hasn't even stepped into a ring since way last year. You know? So there's it. I personally do not watch AEW. I personally don't. But now that Mercedes is there, I'll be tuning in.
Yeah, I think you'll have a lot of people like you that would not normally tune in that, oh, Mercedes is there. I will tune in. It's gonna be interesting to watch. And I know they really just hired a female lead writer who I guess is kind of supposed to oversee things and who's worked closely with Mercedes, kind of like how Brian Gerwitz was to The Rock. I guess she was to Mercedes in her time in WWE. So hopefully that's bringing this all together and it'll work wonders for them. So that's
excited actually.
Yeah. So hopefully for them it'll be good, and yeah, it'll be nice to see Mercedes back on TV again here soon. But let's keep running down this card. We got a few matches left to talk about, including yours. So we're gonna jump right into yours. As you mentioned, your debut match was against this person. You get another shot against them at Wes Wakefield versus the one and only LeonKing. Again, what did you learn from that first matchup that you can take differently for this one?
One thing I will take from that match is he's no joke. And I went in there because I was very, very mad because you attacked me. For what? You know what I'm saying? So that first match, I wanted to fight. I didn't want to wrestle. No, I came for a fight. And that's what happened. And he gave me a whooping. He did. He he handed me a fight, but at the end I prevailed. And as I was celebrating, he attacked me again. So he challenged me again. I went to the EWA general manager and I said, if he wants this, he got it. But if I beat him this time, keep him far, far away from me. I'm over it. You don't get to experience the King spotlight twice. You know what I'm saying? But yes, this match is going to be great. This time, he attacks me, but I've learned to calm myself down, learn to keep my cool, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show him what I got. I'm going to show y'all why I call myself the King.
And again, this is all going down this coming Saturday, Swisher, Iowa, at the Swisher Legion Hall. Bell doors open at 6. Bell time is 6:30 p.m. For ticket information, head over to Eminent Wrestling Alliance Facebook page, or you can buy tickets at the door as well, because there will be tickets available at the door. We got a couple more matchups here to talk about this evening. We have a three-way dance coming up. We have Dean Wilson versus the Big Bad Bull, Angus Kaiser versus Jacob Erickson. You want to talk about 3 different styles? I can't think of many more different 3 styles than all 3 of these gentlemen.
And let's just talk about it. They're all big men. This is a big meaty match.
Might need to reinforce the ring for this one.
Seriously. And I mean with a few different steel posts, okay? I stepped in the ring at the Rumble with Angus, and he gave me a chop and I died. So you can have a great day. Erickson, he's such a off-standing character. Like, there's not really a lot of interaction with him and anybody else. I mean, I literally interviewed him one time, and he was in a dark, secluded room, and I felt like I was a part of the Blair Witch Project or something. I don't know, but very weird man. But Loudmouth, even back when we did commentary, I do not like that man. He is just too loud, he's too obnoxious, and he looks like an off-brand Heart Foundation. Seriously, he needs to get serious.
And finally, coming up for the evening, we got a pretty great main event that was actually set up at our last Swisher show at the end of last year. We have the one and only Damian Saint versus Rory Fox, kind of a battle of Eastern Iowa here, as both guys are from the Eastern Iowa area. So that's kind of what I'm going to call this matchup, is a battle for Eastern Iowa. Again, Damian Saint, Rory Fox is your main event this Saturday night in Swisher.
Yeah. And, you know, I haven't seen these 2 men wrestle. I don't know who these 2 men are. So I'm very excited to see, because I know they're going to be competition here very soon. So I'm very excited to see their styles, see how they get down in the ring. But yeah, that's the big main event. So they better live up to the expectation.
Yeah, I think you'll say you've never seen. I think you'll definitely be intrigued by both men. Roy Fox been around for a while. He actually started on the show MTV's True Life, I Want to Be a Pro Wrestler, that aired back in like the early 90s. Damian Saint's been around the Midwest here for a while now, and it's gonna be great. Both guys tend to bring some hometown fans with them as well, so it's gonna be, I think, a nice dueling crowd there for both of these gentlemen as we head into the show on Saturday night. And again, it's gonna be a fun night. I love these type of shows, man, especially in places like Swisher. It's a nice little small venue, maybe a little too small, but that makes it more fun and more challenging for everybody to kind of figure out what to do.
To bring the, you know, that's also like another reason why I entered the pro wrestling world. If you cannot bring people and perform in front of 5 people, right? And if you can't make them cheer for you or boo you, what are you doing this for? You know what I'm saying? So yes, it's going to be a challenge, but you got to make it work. No matter what size of the venue, what size of the crowd, make it work. This is our life. Well, this is my life. I don't know about anybody else. This is my dream. This is my passion. This is my fire. This is my desire. So if you can't go out there and perform in front of a smaller crowd and get them to boo or cheer you, what are you doing this for? You're boring.
All right. Well, I've got a few more minutes here with you. I'm going to do some kind of rapid fire questions here for you. So some of it will be pro wrestling related, some of it won't be. So let's go ahead and go with your favorite match that you've actually seen in person. We talked about your favorite match that you already saw, which was Taker versus HBK. What's your favorite match you've seen in person?
In person would be Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell.
Oh,
that match was electric.
The moment Cody took off that his robe. Like we were sitting at home, and even my wife looked up from her book and said, "Holy shit!" Like,
I just got goosebumps from when you
yeah,
just said that. If you were to heard the live reaction and the gasps in the
yeah,
air, sucked it all out of the arena. Like
yeah.
it was like a wow moment, you know.
When you are driving to shows, because obviously you had some time in the car now with a lot of these guys, what are you guys
Yeah.
listening to? What musics, what podcasts are you guys listening to?
Me personally, I will be listening to Pink Friday 2 by Nicki Minaj. I put her album on repeat. My theme song is in that album, so I just love that bitch. That's the queen of rap, and she makes me feel like the queen of wrestling.
What's your favorite book if you have one?
Favorite book? Probably the Hunger Games series, the whole series. Just love.
Nice. What's your favorite movie?
Um, honestly, probably The Conjuring.
Oh, nice.
Love the series.
As again, I know you're very new into this wrestling, but what's the best advice as of now that you've received so far?
Oh man, I got a huge paragraph from someone I used to train with in North Carolina. His name is Grant Watts. Or yeah. He just basically went through my match and picked it apart piece by piece. And I can't tell you what exactly he said to me because it was a lot. And I mean like a paragraph. And I am talking a small one. But he really let me know, like, dude, this was great, this was not. This was great, this was not. So thank you, Grant. I love you.
Awesome. Now, again, you're still new to this, so this all is going to probably change over the years. Do you have a post-match or post-show food that you love to get? I know a lot of guys kind of have traditions of post-match meals they like to have.
Yes. When I was in North Carolina, me and Jay Malachi, or Javon Evans in WWE now, and my friends Gary and gosh, who else went with us? Zion, Amira, Manny, all of my crew in North Carolina. We always went to either IHOP or we went to Waffle House. Those two right there after a show hit different. Seriously.
All right. Now, so again, we did your favorite list about Rushmore earlier. How about as far as like, I know you said Sasha's your kind of number one, Mercedes your number one. Who would you rank behind Sasha as far as female talent? Because there's so much great female talent out there.
As far as main stage, my second to Sasha would probably. I'm very excited to see what Jade Cargill does.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very excited. But there are so many women on the independent scene that are absolutely killing it. Maggie Lee, Jada Stone, Leah Knight. Those three right there are eating it up. And who else is eating it up that I've seen?
Sasha McKenzie.
Yes. She was at the show I commentated.
Yep. So
yeah,
again, just a lot of really great talent out here. We got just a few minutes left here, so before I let you go, I want to give this time to you to let people know where they can find you on the social medias. Where can people follow you at?
So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, X, Snapchat. Any others? I don't know. There's probably something out there. Either LeonKing, Leon Kyle, whatever you try to search up. Honestly, I want to take these last couple moments, and I want to say thank you to a few people. I want to say thank you to Austin Fouts. I love you, dude. Thank you so much for everything. Jay Fowler, thank you for creating a diamond. And thank you, LeBron Cozone, for showing me that this is what I wanted to do.
Absolutely. You cannot go without thanking those people enough for sure. And again, our next Eminent Wrestling Alliance show this Saturday night, Swisher, Iowa, Swisher Legion Hall. Doors open at 6 p.m. Bell time is 6:30, so get there early. Let's have some fun. It's gonna be a fun Saturday night in Swisher. A lot of great action. And until next time, Leon, thank you for joining us, and everybody else. We will see you next time right here on the World Wide Web.